A Detailed Summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear. The book introduces the concept of atomic habits, which refers to small habits that, when practiced consistently, can significantly improve our lives. The author, James Clear, explains that small changes can add up over time and profoundly impact our well-being and success. Chapter 1. The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. The first chapter explores the concept of atomic habits and how they can be used to improve our lives. Clear explains that small habits can be incredibly powerful because they are easy to adopt and can be built upon over time. Chapter 2. How your habits shape your identity. This chapter delves into the relationship between habits and identity. Clear explains that habits reflect our values and shape our sense of self. He also introduces the concept of the aggregation of marginal gains, which refers to the idea that small incremental changes can add up to significant improvements over time. Chapter 3. The 1% Rule. In this chapter, Clear introduces the 1% rule, which states that small improvements can add up to significant gains over time. He explains that making small improvements each day can lead to substantial improvements in the long run. Chapter 4. The 4 Laws of Behavior Change. Clear outlines the 4 laws of behavior change, which are 1. Make it obvious. To change a behavior, you need to be aware of it. 2. Make it attractive. To adopt a new behavior, it needs to be appealing. 3. Make it easy. To perform a behavior, it needs to be convenient. 4. Make it satisfying. To maintain a behavior, it needs to be rewarding. Chapter 5. The first law. Make it obvious. This chapter explores the first law of behavior change, which is to make the behavior obvious. Clear explains that to change a behavior, you need to be aware of it. He provides strategies for increasing awareness, such as tracking habits and creating an environment that supports your goals. Chapter 6. The second law. Make it attractive. In this chapter, Clear discusses the second law of behavior change, which is to make the behavior attractive. He explains that to adopt a new behavior needs to be appealing. He provides strategies for making behaviors more attractive, such as adding rewards and creating an environment that supports your goals. Chapter 7. The third law. Make it easy. This chapter explores the third law of behavior change, which is to make the behavior easy. Clear explains that to perform a behavior, it needs to be convenient. He provides strategies for making behaviors easier, such as reducing the number of decisions you need to make. Chapter 8. The fourth law. Make it satisfying. In this chapter, Clear discusses the fourth law of behavior change, which is to make the behavior satisfying. He explains that to maintain a behavior, it needs to be rewarding. He provides strategies for making behaviors more satisfying, such as adding rewards and tracking progress. Chapter 9. The Goldilocks Rule. This chapter introduces the Goldilocks Rule, which states that behaviors need to be challenging enough to be engaging, but not so challenging that they become discouraging. Clear explains that finding the right balance is key to maintaining motivation and achieving success. Chapter 10. The Downside of Creating Good Habits. In this chapter, Clear discusses the potential downsides of creating good habits, such as becoming too rigid or losing motivation. He provides strategies for avoiding these pitfalls, such as being flexible and finding ways to make habits enjoyable. Chapter 11. The Truth About Talent. This chapter explores the concept of talent and how it relates to habits. Clear explains that talent is often overrated and that habits play a much larger role in determining success. Chapter 12. The 5-Minute Rule. In this chapter, Clear introduces the 5-minute rule, which states that if a behavior can be done in less than 5 minutes, it's easier to get started. He explains that reducing the number of decisions you need to make can make it easier to adopt new habits. Chapter 13. The Secret to Making Progress. This chapter explores the concept of progress and how it relates to habits. Clear explains that progress is often slow and incremental, but that it's the accumulation of small wins that leads to significant improvements. Chapter 14. Be patient. In this chapter, Clear emphasizes the importance of patience when it comes to building habits. He explains that habits take time to develop and that it's normal to experience setbacks. Chapter 15. Reflection and Review. This final chapter encourages readers to reflect on their progress and review their habits regularly. Clear explains that reflection and review are essential for maintaining motivation and achieving long-term success. I hope you enjoyed the summary of this book.